Hey everybody, welcome back to the My Bourbon Journey Whiskey Review channel. My name is Scott. If you're looking for reviews of different whiskeys such as bourbons, ryes, American style whiskeys, some Irish whiskey, maybe single malts on occasion, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Also make sure to hit the bell notification. That's going to alert you to when I'm doing new uploads, live streams, things along those lines. So today from Jim Beam Distilling Company out of Claremont, Kentucky, we have the Old Granddad 114. So a little bit of information regarding this. So mash bill on this, undisclosed. Proof on this, again, 114 or 57% ABV. MSRP on this is anywhere from maybe that $22 range, maybe upwards of $35, depending on where you are, within the state. So I've seen some prices kind of range a little bit there. So typically what I try to do with all or most of my reviews is we'll go through the appearance, we'll nose it, we'll taste it, we'll get into the finish part of it, and then go through really any general information regarding either the product and or the channel itself. So why don't we go ahead and we'll get into the review. All right, so as you can see, this is kind of more on the color-wise, like a nice kind of copper, copper type of color to it. And this, in terms of age, is thought to be in that maybe 5 to 7, maybe max 8-year range. So, a fairly nice, age to it. So, all right, let's get into the nose here. So a little bit right away. So with it being 114 proof, you get a little bit of that heat or ethanol kind of coming off a little bit. So this bottle is kind of, down fairly far. So if you're nosing a new or a fresh bottle, be a little bit more cautious of that. There's probably going to be much more alcohol coming on, off of it and on the nose there. So my first thought right away is this nice vanilla kind of cream to it. A nice caramel presence there as well. Nice rye spice there. I think this is a little bit on the higher rye side as well, this mash bill. Yeah, like a nice sweet caramel note. Even a bit of like a sweet buttercream to it as well. It's a fairly sweet nose for a higher proof bourbon. A little bit of light cinnamon there as well. Even a dark fruit, maybe specifically more like a cherry note to it. Slight nuttiness to it as well a little bit. And that's kind of a typical Jim Beam kind of note. A little bit of kind of a nutty, kind of like a funky, nutty nose to that as well, if that makes any sense. So, all right, let's get into the taste here. Cheers. So right away, again, you get a little bit of that heat that's coming through, and I would expect that, again, on a fresh bottle, the heat's going to probably be a little bit more. Again, I've had this bottle for a while now. It's been open for a while, so maybe not as much, of the ethanol, the heat kind of coming off that. So, be a little bit cautious of that. If you're, opening a new bottle and you're watching this review, it's probably going to be a little bit more on the alcohol side right away. That sweet corn, that rye really wants to come through. A fair amount there. Again, that proof is showing up a little bit. Mid to back palate on the proof wise. Again, you still get those vanillas, the caramels that are there. And again, there's this like sweet buttercream type of note to that balances well with the rye and the heat that's there. There's almost this kind of like dusty, note to it, like something that's got like older age to it. There's a little bit of this dustiness to it, if that makes any sense to you. A little bit of that kind of nuttiness kind of coming through a little bit on that. Some dryness as the finish begins to develop with this. It starts to dry out a little bit more. That's more of the mid to the back of the palate. You get more of that dryness, which is essentially wanting to, you know, make you want to drink a little bit more. As your palate dries out, you begin to want a little bit more. So you've got to be a little bit careful with that, especially being, you know, 114 proof. Now, with that being said, not only do I think this is a good, you know, sipping or drinking bourbon, but I think this would do really, really well in cocktails. High proof, a really nice, strong, you know, flavor profile would hold up really well in cocktails, you know, such as like an old fashioned, things like that. So, you know, if it's something maybe you don't want to necessarily sip on, again, I think it would be great in a cocktail. And as that finish begins to develop, that it really starts to kind of dry out much more. So you start to get a little bit of that leather tobacco type of note to it. But it still finishes with that nice kind of vanilla cream sweetness with a nice rye spice that's there. So I really think this is a nice, well put together, you know, bourbon, and it should be, for the most part, relatively readily available in most areas. So it would be something that I would recommend. I like that profile, a little bit of sweetness with that rye spice that's there. I think it's a fantastic bourbon for what it is. Great price point, you know, $25, maybe $35 max. So, you know, give it a try. You know, let me know your thoughts. Always interested to know, you know, what you think of the bourbon, you know, specifically. You know, have you tried it? You know, really all of that kind of, you know, information. So again, Old Granddad 114. I'll have all the information linked in the description below. So if you want to check that out, feel free to do so. I've got some glasses, some wooden challenge coins, things along those lines. So if any of that is of interest to you, go ahead and check that out. If you would like to support or contribute to the channel, you can through my Patreon page, which again, I'll have linked in the description below as well. So with that being said, it's about the journey and not the destination. Cheers.